What are the things that you're learning, maybe consciously, but also unconsciously, as you reflect back now and go, I'm away from my family. I'm doing this job. I signed up for this job to do this thing. I think I'm pretty good at it. This is pretty messed up. Like, this particular situation is pretty messed up. A lot of things could have happened. A lot of bad things could have happened. What are some of the things that go through, your head, or maybe your teammates' heads during this type of thing, and how do you deal with it?
A lot of, like, that specific example, when all these things happen, one of the best things I started doing, especially when I got a little more seasoned, was doing these quick, like, after actions of what happened. And I just, like, obsess about it. Right.
Like personally, your own after action, or as like a
both,
debrief with the team?
both, especially when I was a team leader for my own team, we did an after action after every operation, right? Like,
Okay.
it was
Yep.
impromptu, or it could have been something official. So, like, leave that aside from now, because that had a lot to do with the operation and how we conducted it. For
Okay.
me, I would always after action what I did, how I responded to something, and what happened in that scenario I just gave with the suicide bomber. There, whether he was or not, right? Like, he went away, but
Right.
pretty sure that's what it was. How did I respond to all that? And you learn a lot about yourself during those high stress situations. I responded with trying to get a beat on his head, right? Trying to do my job.
Hmm.
And my loyalty at that moment was to the guys, because we needed to survive. There was no, like, me walking home to my family, right? There was no, none of that. That was, like, way later. But at that moment, I had to just think about what I needed to control in that moment, which was my loyalty to not, like, just me, but to the people, like, my team that was with me. And those moments not only reveal your nature at that time, like, what are you prone to do when those high stress situations? There are also moments that you might not like what you see. You got to tell yourself the truth, right? If you don't tell yourself the truth, it's kind of a wasted moment. But
Mm-hmm.
two, it reveals your nature. What's your tendency to do, right? Like, I was this immature, brash kid, like, just self-admitted, right? Like, I was like, nobody's perfect. I had to grow into being a leader of men. I had to grow into being a team leader. And even then, I had a lot of just, like, problems in myself that I could identify. But it started off with those moments kind of gave you as an individual, and you could do the tactics, and you're like, hey, I really wasn't good at, like, shooting from inside a car, or, like, you could do, like, tactics and skills and stuff. More importantly is, what are the decisions that you made? How did you respond? How did you communicate to everybody? Where was your loyalty at that time? And it was for us. Once we got out of that, I was like, all right, now I got to get home. I got family, right? I got to get home and make sure that like, because that's my loyalty, and it expanded from that. Those are, like, the revelations. Those are the kinds of things that I think about whenever something stressful like that happens. And sometimes I respond poorly. I've gotten in trouble in the service, like, a lot. All right.
Mhm.
Like, and it has to do with me. Again, I was a brash kid, but I do stand up for myself when I think something isn't fair. And that's something that a lot of people don't want to do because they think it affects their career. So, like, I remember one time I got in trouble. I had supervisors yelling at me, and, like, they made their point, and I said, all right, cool. Like, are we done here? And they wanted to keep doing it. And I stood up and walked out, and I was like, I think we're done here. You're not going to speak to me that way. And, they don't like that. But two things is, like, how you do it. I didn't do it well. That the first time I did it, I just got up, metaphorically, but kind of, like, almost did flip the table over and just walked out on everybody. Had I done it in a bit more diplomatic way, which is what I was talking about earlier,
Yep.
maybe they wouldn't be able to say anything. But
Right.
regardless of what the issue was, all they remember is me being an asshole, right? And those are the kind of moments that you sit down and be like, what did you do, man? Like,
Yep.
right? You had
I think
integrity, good job, but you didn't handle it. You made it worse, right? And those are, like, the moments in your life that you define these moments, but you have to after action them. You have to sit down and have this hot wash with yourself. And like, you can do all the operations and have official after action reports. Those are great. I used to love those, right? Like I obsessed about tactics, and I can write an entire novel about tactics, right? I wrote all the like the lesson plans when I was an instructor for all those years. Like I loved it. It was my privilege, and I would be driving, and I tell my wife, I'm like, all right, check it out. Look at the posture of these vehicles, all right? And she's like, oh my, could you just please turn the radio on?
Every wife can I think from folks like you can relate to that. Yeah, for sure.
But those are the things I think that for to like my opinion of what a leader of men and somebody who's also dangerous is you have to have that ability to move that forward, to move you forward, yourself forward, and start thinking about like your integrity. What is your true nature, right? Do you tell yourself the truth? Right? All these things are moments in time that measure it. Because we can sit here all we want and talk about like, yeah, man, we're going to be great. We talk about the truth and we do all this stuff, but it's those moments in time that occur that if you don't listen to what you did, you're going to do it again. And the more that you do it and it's the wrong response, the more that you fall into this state of like kind of despair, and you start not like yourself, and your self-worth starts going down, and you're just there then. You're just like kind of floating through life.